right, man. Antonio Brown. A lot to talk about with AB, man. Um, man, I don't know what's going on with AB.
I've seen some people call him Antonio Clown. Have you seen that?
Oh no, that's
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, they're
Yeah.
not far off though. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot going on with AB right now. Um, I don't know. I don't know what happened. What happened, man? Where did it go wrong?
I'm disappointed, but I think, and I don't know people inside the Steelers building. It's like, has he always been like this? And the Steelers just did a really good job of hiding it. That could be one thing, and if so, it's like, man, uh, Mike Tomlin is better than we all give him credit for, right? Like,
Right, right.
to be able to kind of not just with Antonio Brown and kind of manage that whole situation, but also have Le'Veon Bell, another big personality, and with all the things that he is doing and won't do, whether it's rapping or I don't want to go to training game, all the things we see him doing with the Jets are those things that also were happening while he was with the Steelers, and Tomlin did a good job of keeping it under wraps. So
Right.
Antonio Brown uh, is disappointing for me because like I had just put out like my top 5 receivers or top 10 receivers in the NFL during like before the whole Steelers thing I think happened, but I was like that's the number one receiver in the league, like as far as
Facts.
kind of how he had been playing like over the last 6 years or whatever, like crazy numbers, crazy production,
Yeah, it was not
um,
debatable.
and then for everything to transpire after that to where now I'm questioning if this dude will even play in the NFL again. And
Yeah, it's crazy.
it's pretty amazing to be
I think it's wild.
having a conversation.
Yeah, I think it's wild. To piggyback off of what you're talking about. It was the whole argument, talent versus production, right? Antonio Brown was clearly not the most talented, not the most gifted wide receiver in the NFL, but nobody could argue for 6 years he was not the best in the NFL.
All right.
And
Part of it, you talked about talent, but I mean, just his work ethic too.
man, that's
Nobody
huge.
works harder than him. Nobody outworks him. Like that's the
There
one
was more talented wide
constant thing.
receivers than Jerry Rice, but nobody
Right,
worked harder than him.
right.
And that's why he was so great, right? And you can see a lot of the comparisons similarly in their style of play too. Now, obviously, Antonio Brown, because of sports medicine and modern, training, he was a better athlete. But similarly, neither one of them were the best athletes. Neither one of them were the fastest guys, but they worked their asses off, and that's what made them so great. So his music career. Let's get back to the topic at hand. Um, you don't like his music clearly. I don't like it either. I thought he had a catchy song, but what do you think he's going to do? You think he's going to continue on with the music, or
One thing I've noticed sometimes when guys get bored, they're kind of unpredictable. So I don't know what
yeah,
he's gonna do next. I mean, shoot, just think about like Marshawn Lynch when he retired. He was like on the show, the dude that be trying to like survive.
We probably gonna fight on what you got next for me, bro. Cause if it's some like that, bro, I'm telling you right now. I mean, I know you got courage and all that, but I'm gonna have to see what your hands talking about. If he had me dangling off another cliff, then I'm gonna put paws on him.
And it was like Marshawn Lynch was comedy, but
oh,
that
he's
just like,
always
when
comedy.
guys retire, what do I do now? And oh, this can bring in more money. Like I think that's the part that makes it unpredictable. Is like, wait, you're gonna pay me how much to do this for a day? All right, so
Facts. Bring out the cameras.
yeah, so that's the part that makes even a guy like Antonio Brown, while he's doing all this, there has to be some type of money in it for someone and somebody that might be trying to, uh, capitalize off of his downward
Downward
spiral.
spiral. Yeah.
But that in a sense makes it a little bit unpredictable. Whatever his next move is going to be, I have no idea, and it's crazy to say this, but I don't think his next move is going to be football. But who knows? The NFL, we've seen them do weirder
It's
things.
sad to say. We laugh at Antonio Brown, but there's a real reality that some of this could absolutely be CTE, and that's absolutely not a joking matter. I played football in high school and in JUCO. People are obviously aware of, the fact that you played college ball and arena football, and your time in the NFL. CTE is no joke. I don't want to make light of it, but how much do you think of his antics, so to speak, are a result of maybe having some mental illness right now? Might be related to CTE. What would you say to that?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough because I don't know. You know, I watched the movie Concussion, and the things that they kind of depicted in the movie was more like, you know, anger and, you know, like being moody and things like that. With Antonio Brown, it seems more like he just can't get out of his own way, and he's feeling himself so much to where it's like I can do whatever I want. That doesn't necessarily say CTE to me, but I don't know. I haven't done any like real research on CTE
Sure.
to that extent to know, you know, the different ways that people react on it. But in the movie, they made it seem like it was more anger, and what Antonio Brown's going through, it doesn't seem like anger. It just seems like he's lost with who he is
Okay.
and what he was and what got him to the stardom of Antonio Brown. He's not Antonio Brown anymore. He's AB, and those are two different people.
The CTE thing makes a lot of sense from a perspective of, you know, where he came from to where he is now. There's such a drastic flip in his mannerisms. But again, you touched on it and alluded to it earlier. We don't know if this is a new thing with Antonio Brown, right?
Right.
This could have been habitual, could have been something that Pittsburgh was dealing with day in and day out, and we just never knew about it. They might have done a fantastic job of keeping it in house, and like you said, if they did, man, hats off to Mike Tomlin, right?
Yeah. And the Rooney family.
And the Rooney family, right? Salute to them. Shout out to the Rooney family and Mike Tomlin. If this was something that was the norm and they were able to keep in house, but I think we'd be doing a disservice to the doctors and everybody that works in the field of trying to really analyze CTE and figure out what are the side effects of it, what are the characteristics, what are some of the things you see out of people that are suffering from it. I don't want to say he's not, but I agree with you in the sense that a lot of this seems more about ego than mental illness, right? Antonio Brown shot onto the scene, took over the NFL at his position, became a megastar. And it's not uncommon for stuff like that to get the guys' heads, right? And then when you're suddenly removed out of that spotlight, you panic to try and get it back. A lot of guys will panic to try and get that back.